Good morning, Raider Time 10. The counselors are back with you again. It's that time of year to talk about registration for next year and requesting your courses. So, as we've done in the past, you guys saw this last year, but as we've done in the past, we are going to walk you through how to access the registration guide on the school website. We're going to take you through different parts of the registration guide that you will find interesting and vital to the course request process. And we're also going to walk you through again how to actually request those courses in Skyward. So over the next 20 minutes and then the next 2 or 3 days here, the goal is to complete the course registration process for 11th grade. With that in mind, I'm going to have Mr. Ensrud share his screen so we can show you how to get to the brand new course registration guide for the 25-26 school year. The first thing you're gonna do is go to the northfieldschools.org website. And then once you are at the main page, go to schools. Under schools, you're gonna find Northfield High School. It's where we all go to high school. So that's the one you want to click on. Then you're gonna find the student support tab there on the left side and click on that. Scroll down a ways past your school counselors' names and find course registration and planning for 2025-26. And then you are going to click on the blue-green course registration button. That will open up a brand new window and open up the new registration guide for this upcoming school year. Few things I want to highlight on this registration guide, other than the wonderful Raiders League logo that we've added this year. It looks pretty sharp. First thing I want to have you guys look at is this table of contents. We have our intro section. That's going to include things that we'll talk about here in a second. But then we have everything broken down the table of contents from graduation required courses through electives, then further broken down into specifics. So if you're looking for a specific class, you'll be able to find it in the table of contents, reference the table of contents, and then go find the course. The other thing I want to highlight here, every course that's new has that little bold new next to it. So if there's a course title that you don't recognize and you see new, you might want to check it out. So make sure you're referencing the new courses in the guide. Beyond that specific table of contents, we have the Northfield High School profile. One of the reasons we include this is because in a couple of years, when you're thinking about applying to colleges, this is one of the things we actually send off to those schools along with your transcript. It outlines a bit about our town, a bit about Northfield, our faculty, the classes we offer, including the advanced courses we offer, as well as the average AP score of those students, academic test performance from previous years, and my favorite thing, it outlines the post-secondary plans for the previous graduating class. So class from 2024 last year. It outlines who did what in terms of a future plan, and then if they decide to go to a 4 or 2 year college, where they decided to go. The last thing I'm going to talk about before I hand it off to Ms. Rasmussen, well, two things. One is our course add drop policy. Guys, this process of course requesting is very important. It helps determine what our schedule looks like, how many sections of certain things that we offer next year based on what you guys decide you want to take. So please take this initial process seriously and also understand that we are limited in what we can do in terms of changing schedules once they have been decided. The last thing I want to talk about is we try to get this in front of you guys on a semi-regular basis, exactly what you need to graduate from Northfield High School, right? So you need your required credits that are broken down in that section right there, as well as your elective credits. We know you need to get to 23, and in those specific areas, as you guys work your way through the registration guide, you'll see that your sequence for classes that are required are going to be pretty laid out for you clearly. So you want to make sure you're referencing that as well. And when you're thinking about requesting courses, you're going to want to think about life beyond high school, what colleges might be looking for. And for more on that, I'm going to pass it off to Ms. Rasmussen.
Thank you, Mr. Turnquist. Hello, future 11th graders. Exciting time, registration. And I like what he said. When you are choosing your courses and you're looking at the 23 credits and the core requirements and the electives you need, be sure to think about what you might want to do after high school. It's not too early for that. You want to make sure these doors are open for you. You don't want to accidentally close a door of something that you might want to do. And remember, colleges, universities, the military, whatever you're looking to do might have different recommendations or requirements than what we have for the high school diploma. World language. You do not need world language to graduate high school. It is an elective. Your plan after high school might require this or strongly recommend it. Four-year college might want you to have 2 years of the same world language. This needs to be planned. So the counselors are hoping that you take this time. That's why we dedicate 3 days for you to really map out not only 11th grade, but maybe 12th grade as well. Think about what you want to do after high school as far as a career when you're picking those electives. Use your Naviance account. You know what that is. Look at careers. Your electives can help prepare you for that. If you're looking at playing sports, D1, D2 level, you need to have your transcript be approved by the NCAA. So the requirements are listed here. So this registration guide has a lot of information in these first pages. We lay out our academic supports and everything that's available. So take some time during these days to look at it. Now, going into 11th grade, you have more opportunities. So this week when you're registering, be sure to register for a full schedule, full list of courses, up to 6 credits of high school courses. But as you're doing that, start thinking about other opportunities for yourself. We have a dual credit opportunities that you might want to research and take a look at. They involve a concurrent enrollment courses are available to you. You have PSEO, post-secondary enrollment option. As a senior, you could take senior honors program. We have AP courses. All of these courses allow you to potentially earn dual credit, high school and college. So there's information here for you. We will do an information session during Flex on February 24th. If you're interested in learning more about PSEO and some other dual enrollment options. For now, though, make sure you register for a full list of courses. That's why we have the information session after this time. Hopefully that makes sense to you there. And I will pass it off to Mr. Ensrud to go from here.
Hey, everybody. Just to finish up what Ms. Rasmussen was referring to, that info session on the 24th, mark your calendar. We're going to have a parent version of it in that evening because there's conferences on the 24th. And there's a one-page document that we'll be putting in front of folks at that session and trying to get out to the community here to help you guys see the differences across all the different ways to earn credits at Northfield High School, including those dual credit options that Ms. Rasmussen was talking about. We don't want to get too stuck on that right now based on the timelines that are kind of required for all of the above. We need your course requests for Northfield High School to occur as though dual credit or PSEO or the other things aren't really part of the plan yet. They might become for some of you, but not yet. We need those Northfield High School courses entered in order to have an accurate representation of what is to come to build our calendars. So to do that, the next part of the registration guide, as Mr. Turnquist noticed on the table of contents pages, we have our grad required content areas. Starting with the arts requirement, this is very similar, if not the same, to what you saw on this page last year. It's a listing of all the music and art department courses that meet that arts requirement. And then elsewhere later on in the registration guide, you'll see course descriptions for them. A little refresher is you get into your English choices for next year. You're essentially on a path of either English 11 or Advanced English 11, depending on your strengths and preferences. You can kind of do a little comparison contrast of English 11 versus Advanced 11 in this section. Notice that Advanced does one of those concurrent offerings in our partnership with Mankato. You can kind of see what your choices will be as you get closer to being a senior. In the math section, there's a new flow chart that's a little more streamlined. And I'm sure your math teachers either already have or soon will be talking directly with you in your class about what your next step option would be in your math sequence. And that's kind of their phrasing that we want to lean into as far as a next step in your sequence, more important than what grade are you in next year. The math department is really organizing all their offerings with no specific labels of what grade levels, but more about what's the next best fit for you in terms of what you've been doing up till this point. So there's all their offerings with some changes potentially still to come because they're in a little review cycle. And then the next section is on that FIAD and health front. You should be done by the end of this year with your health requirement. You're going to be done with at least half of your FIAD requirement. You have a full credit to do, so maybe you still have another half credit to choose from in the rest of this section, including some new offerings that are also noted with that word new, just like on table of contents. We get into science, and you've really got a three-pronged potential approach as far as what to choose from for next year in science. Most of our students move into chemistry after biology because the math is the kind of the precursor and what helps us determine that chemistry should come before physics. So it's regular chem, chemistry in context, or advanced placement chem next year. And then we move down into social studies, and you guys will be basically making a choice between world history and AP world history. Each of them are described in this section. And then if you're a student who has an IEP in place, all of our special education courses that you're working on in partnership with your case manager. We talked about world languages. We have a lot of offerings in world language. It depends again on your experience level and what you've done coming into next year. And if you want to continue versus if you want to be done in terms of what you need for your future plans. Then after that world language section, it's all organized by area of interest, which we really try and connect to the world of work and to career pathways. So you can see the categories that are set up. We've rebranded and relabeled a couple of them because they are better aligned now with what the world of work looks like. Some jobs that connect to those interest areas. And then once you get into those specific categories and interest areas, you'll see all of our courses within each of those. The first section is a little longer because we have a lot of performing visual and media arts offerings at Northfield High School, starting with those foundational courses that serve as prerequisite for more intermediate and advanced art and music offerings. So you can scroll your way through all those possibilities and see what stands out to you. And into the next area after arts is the business and culinary areas. Two things that seem a little separate sometimes, but really there's a lot of overlap in that business entrepreneurship set of fields. So we have introductory and intermediate level business and culinary offerings, as well as some advanced offerings that you're now eligible for. When you get into this part of the guide, you'll start realizing how many more offerings are for 11th and 12th graders. So you really have a broader scope of choices now. Ag, foods, natural resources, and tech ed. Again, introductory levels versus more intermediate and advanced levels, depending on what you've done previously. Health sciences cover a few different subject areas at Northfield High School, but all might be connected with a future in a healthcare field of some sort. Similar with human services, a lot of education-related classes, as well as some psychology and law classes in that section. And then lastly, our science and technology section. Some very clearly specific tech stuff, and then a couple other science electives that you might find interesting. So once you get to the end of this incredibly long document, you've successfully found out the specifics. If you're not super excited on reading up on this stuff, it came from our teachers. It is going to be more accurate than talking to your peers about what classes are going to be like, because the people who teach them are the ones who write these and the ones who will be in front of them next year. Once you've gotten a handle on what you want there, we're going to return you to this course registration and planning part of our website. And now when you scroll down, you will see specific to your grade and the grade above you, the registration student instructions and some FAQs. Ms. Lippens is going to show us through this. I'm going to talk through just very briefly what all's here. You've seen this before. We didn't change a lot of it. A lot of emphasis on pre-planning, the schedule change, drop add policy that Mr. Turnquist showed us. If you get lost in what Miss Lippens shows you shortly, here's your step-by-step instructions for how to do the requests. And then we really would love to see you get after it in terms of this planning grid. Specifically, when you start talking about 11th grade, and I did this with a couple students recently, we immediately started filling in some 12th grade options because students were like, oh, I don't have room for a ton of stuff still. I want more room. Well, check it out. You're going to have more room your 12th grade year, and we got plenty of space to fill. Okay. Then it's the list of every class. Not quite the same order as the Reg Guide because we need these course numbers, and you'll see why. This is usually where we stop and say, if you don't have this document downloaded to Notability, now would be a good time to do that because you can highlight the classes, you can write in the plans, and then you'll be able to just data entry into Skyward. Last page of this document is the questions we field from students all the time about this process. If you think one of these questions is something unique to you, it might not be, and you might find your answer here before you have to raise your hand or reach out and try and get it from somebody else. To that point, Ms. Lippens will talk about how to get in contact with us. One of the ways is going to be outside the hallways over the next couple days during Raider time. If there's a question your Raider time teacher can't tackle or doesn't feel comfortable answering, they can send you out our direction. We'd be happy to help. All right, with that said, I am going to toss it over to Ms. Lippens so that she can take us through a little more of these details and show us how to do it.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to help you on your registration journey. You're going to be juniors. That's so fun. It's where your world opens up a little more and you get to pick several other classes that you couldn't before. So the first thing you're going to want to do, like Mr. Endred said, was really look at the pre-planning portion of this form and the guide and just make sure you're taking the classes you need and that you're on track for graduation, right? So really dig into everything, consult with your teachers if you have questions, your parents, and then absolutely come to us if you have any questions or if you want to go over your plan. Okay, as Mr. Insert said, we are going to be very available to you to help you go through this process. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, is it letting me? All right, so.
Sorry about that. Try again. I think
Okay.
now my
Yep.
bad.
Okay. So as you log into Skyward, you're going to see your schedule. And as you know, you've done this a couple times now. So this will be just a quick refresher. You're going to click on Request Courses. And then you'll see where you can request your course. It's really important that you know the course numbers. So I'm going to start, you're going to need to take English next year. So let's just register for English really quick. So I'm going to do 4-1 are the first two numbers for English. I see. Let's go to, oh, you might need to do the whole course. So let's just do English 11. So 4115 is the course number. Oh,
Look at that. We've got some things to fix
Yes.
before we turn you guys loose on this program. We'll take care of that.
okay. So I'm just going to click senior literature. That would be your senior class, but that's okay. So that's an English class for your senior year. I'm just showing you how to register for classes right now. So there's one course added. Then I'm going to add an elective. So I like photography, taking pictures. I'm going to try and take that class. I'm going to add photo. You're going to click add class, and there it is. Okay, so far I've registered for 2 classes. Make sure, as you know, you need to have 6 credits total or 7 to be completed as a full-time student. So look at the total credits at the top. It should say 6 or 7. When it gets to that point, you're not done yet. Make sure you request your alternates. Make sure you choose 3 alternates so that we don't have to, your lovely counselors have to pick a class for you. I'm sure you're not going to be excited about our choices. So pick the ones you want. So I'm going to do core strength as my alternate. So I'm going to add course. There it is. As you can see, it says a number 1. So that's my first choice alternate. And then I'm going to choose strength agility. That sounds like a fun class. I like Phi Ed if you couldn't tell. So here I go. Oh, Strength, agility, add course. Oh, see, I just messed up. So this is how you do it. You need to make sure you're requesting your alternate. That's what I was doing. So click request alternate and then the class you want to take. So I just added it to my requirements and I made a mistake. So this is important to know too. All you need to do if you do that is click on the course that you chose and go back here. Oops. And you can remove the class.
I
So
think you have to go back to your request courses tab at the top instead of the request alternates, because now you're in your alternates. This is exactly what
Yep.
we all live as we work with
perfect.
students. Thank you for demonstrating it.
Yes, I'm learning too. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to remove strength, agility. And there we go. So here's request alternates. Like I said, you're going to pick 3. I'm just going to do walking really quick to show you. So now I have my first choice and my second choice. If you decide that you're thinking about it later and you're like, oh, I'd rather do walking than core, all you do is go back in, you click the arrow, walking is my first choice now, and core is my second, okay? So once you have 3 alternates requested, you are completed with the process. You're just gonna hit the red X to the right and you are all done. All right, good luck picking classes. Remember, we're here for you.
Good job, everybody.